What's good? Hello, everyone. Back from Planetfaz, bringing you a huge show today. This time, we break down all things Eric Ten Hag, or should I say Eric Ten Hag. I'm still getting it. I'm still learning. I'm still learning. On my right, if I'm going according to the camera, on my right you have Ajax, and on my left you have Sahbi. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show, guys. Thank you so much for taking time out today from a busy schedule to give me a piece, give me an insight on Ten Hag. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing peachy, man. I'm glad it's almost weekend because real life aside of the YouTube and the football talks is pretty busy at the moment. But I'm
Yeah.
managing, and this feels like getting a rest. Talking football is always nice. So
Exactly. No, no, definitely. I'm feeling quite well as well. Like weekend is coming. There are Ajax match this weekend, so I'm excited. Let's do this. Let's do this.
We're gonna break all things down Ten Hag as that's what the conversation is about. But before we do, I wanna quickly ask you guys as lifelong Ajax fans, firstly, how did it feel losing to PSV over the weekend? Um, I watched the game. You guys definitely outscored them, but the offside thing, it was
Yeah.
so harsh, so tight. Easily could have been 3, 4 goals to you guys. And yeah, how did it make you feel?
yeah,
Yeah,
you go
pretty
first.
bad. Pretty bad, actually. I mean, yeah, we were so unlucky on one hand, but on the other hand, yeah, we didn't play that great. I mean, it wasn't the football that we usually play. We missed some certain key players,
Mm.
players like Anthony, who is one of our best attackers. We have several attackers at this moment, like Tadic and Haller, who were out of form. That's why Bobby played at that game. Yeah, he was quite unlucky as well with his offside goal. But yeah, shit happens, so to say. And I'd rather win the league title than this domestic cup. If I had to choose, I'd rather have them both. But let's give it to them this time, and the league title will be ours.
Yeah.
I was very excited when I watched the game. Ajax, you give me your take. What did you think of the game, and how did it make you feel? And now that it's been a few days or a week or so now, how are you settling in with that?
Yeah, I've never been more happy, man. It's between that match and like the elimination in the Champions League. So happy about it. No, but
Okay.
in all seriousness, yeah, it's crap, man. Always crap losing to one of your fierce competitors. And I can make up excuses like, yeah, 2 goals were disallowed and it was so close. But these are the rules nowadays, Fast. So offside is offside. VAR is implemented in football nowadays, so we can complain about it. But we lost focus, and because of the loss in focus, we conceded twice in a short time frame. And all I can do is say kudos to our competitor PSV because they played quite well also. I cannot say like we were unlucky, that's why we won. No, we should have been dominating it, and we lacked the power in the second half. And we were unlucky a bit with the VAR moments, but yeah, these things happen in football nowadays. So kudos to them.
True.
They got a trophy, but we're going to win the competition. So in the end, all things will be good.
True. I mean, one thing that very much surprised me is how aggressive the Ajax players are. I was very surprised and almost excited, of course, after watching it. But the whole unity in the team and even after the offsides and whatever, you could clearly see, offside or not, they were clearly creating more of the chances. They were clearly dominating in certain aspects of the game, physicality wise. Yeah, I was very much excited by this, and you guys get to see this week in, week out. And I remember I had this small conversation with you, Ajax. I remember that beating PSV would have made a bigger statement, going forward in the league, because I know it's so tight and only a couple of games left. Do you think it somehow puts a dent in your league run now?
No, I said it beforehand. If Ten Hag fails to become champion this season, and we still 4 points ahead with 4 matches left, so he should be able to finish it well and get that first prize. But if he fails to do that, it's a failed season, because in my opinion and in my book, we were dubbed like the huge favorites at the beginning of the season. And for us now to only be 4 points ahead and also losing in the cup final, also lost to PSV, I believe 4-0 in the Johan Cruyff trophy. That's the trophy in the beginning, the Super Cup in the beginning of the year. We had an excuse there because we were not full in our preparation yet, and they had to do the preliminary rounds in the Champions League, in which they lost. Yeah, the situation was different. In the competition, we beaten them twice, so that's good. But for me, yeah, it's always a dent losing to them because you do not want to give your number one rivals the feeling that they can gain something against you. So you have to be confident. Yeah. So for me, yeah, it's always sour, but in my age that I am now, it's easier for me to get over it because when I was younger, like in my teenage years, probably for you the same, Fes, it was devastating if Ajax lost any match. And I would be sour the whole day, So yeah, you're getting older and you relevate a little bit better, and it's okay now. And for me, the only thing that matters now is the competition. And hopefully Ten Hag can leave with a prize.
Yes, he can leave on the high, and when he does leave, he can bring some players with him. That'll be great too. I know Sahbi's already started Twitter wars with certain people saying, "Oh, you might as well call yourself Ajax Chester," and all this. I woke up this morning, I'm seeing notifications of Sahbi.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many players. No, there's so many players linked to United because of Ten Hag, and I can imagine that because we have certain players who are outstanding. I mean, correct. You can name it already: Anthony, Timber. Those are the two who are really being linked. There's Gravenberg. I even hear names as Alvarez. Yeah, I mean that's why I said you can take our whole team and change your name into Ajax, because that's basically the whole the heart of the club, in which United is interested in. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, from your sake, I can imagine you want those players, but hopefully they stick with us at least for a year.
Anthony. I definitely want Anthony. I definitely want Timber. I'm also excited and looking at how do you pronounce his name? Gravenberg. Gravenberg, yeah.
Not Gravenberg.
Gravenberg. Is that better? There we go. We got it. What a talent, right? He played like under 18s when he was 15 or 16. He played under 16s or whatever when he was 13. He was in the first team when he was 18, 19. What a talent. Maybe him as well. But look, more so than the players, let's go straight into the Ten Hag talk. This whole conversation, I wanted to know any and everything that you guys know about Ten Hag. If you guys are watching, please let us know where you're watching from. If you guys have questions for the panel members and myself, make sure you drop it in the comment section. We might even have a dial-in section to have you guys dial in later on, and you can be on the live and ask questions to the panel. But my first initial question that everybody is asking me to ask you guys: can Ten Hag deal with big egos? We as Manchester United have this thing where we have what you call player power, or we've had it, or it's on the decline, whatever it is. There's a situation where there's an amount of player power going on in the club. Can Ten Hag deal with big egos? I'll start with you, Sahbi. Please let us know what you think.
Yeah, I'm quite positive he can handle such egos. I mean, there's a quite difference between the egos, the superstars at Ajax and the superstars of United. We got Tadic and Blind, etc. Who are more the veterans who say and Ten Hag, knowing he does listen to the players, he does listen to them, ask for their opinion, but at the end it's always his say. Whatever happens, it's his call. You could see him as some kind of a teacher who likes to play around with his players, especially in the training ground. He even plays with them 11 against 11. He often plays with them during an exhibition match. So he laughs a lot with him, laughs a lot with each other, etc. But at the end, he can be very serious, and it's his say. And if you don't want to cooperate, if you don't want to proceed with the way he wants to play, then it's over. It's over. He's quite strict into it because you already seen that he's quite strict against with management, with contract details, mentioning that he wants to have a say in the transfers. That's what he actually is within squad. He always wants to be in the lead, whatever happens. He wants to have total control. So he doesn't care about superstars, the egos. He does listen to them. I mean, if Ronaldo talks to him, he will listen, but it doesn't mean that he will take over whatever he is saying. He has his own vision, and that's basically it. I don't know, Ajax, whether you want to add or agree with me.
I agree with you mostly there. It's like his way or the highway, Fast. So
Yeah.
you have to cope with it, or you have to get along, or yeah, you're benched, or maybe even on the stench, So yeah, but for me, I think this player power thing, that's something that grew at Manchester United, but at our club we do not have that a lot. I think because they're quite strict, and the management is also quite strict at it, and the coach himself also. So him asking for more power at your club, considering other managers that were there before him, also with the contract negotiations, also with the players coming in and coming out, having a big deciding factor in this. This means that he's pulling more power towards himself than his previous, the managers before him. So considering how he is as a manager and the way he values his own thoughts that he wants to implement, and he's not somebody who like Sahbi says, does it differently because some people demand it from him. So I'm not afraid that he will be the one that will implement his style fully to Manchester United. The thing is, what will be the balance in your team, because you need to offload so many players, and you need to, because I heard you saying just now that you love to have Anthony in the club. But this is also, and I'm not trying to dish you or something Fast, but this is also the problem with Manchester United fans, for me, because he's a terrific player. But be honest, how many wingers do you already have? And there are some people are coming back.
Get rid of some.
Yeah,
Me personally, I've said we need to get rid of some, of course.
but this is
I know you want to get rid of Rashford.
Yeah,
I read.
no, but seriously, this is the problem with Manchester United. You need defenders, you need midfielders. This is the area that you do not have a lot of players for that are quality. You can easily play with Rashford, and I'm positive that Ten Hag will bring him back, because people tend to forget the quality that he has. He's been awful, and I agree with you. He's been awful, but he has been great in the past also, and there is some quality within him. And still, he's a young player, and the whole team is playing awful at the moment for weeks now, maybe for the whole year. So I still have faith in the manager that is coming towards you in Erick Ten Hag, and I have faith in the ability of some players that are at the club. Sancho, he's a baller. He just needs the right instructions. He needs to have a stable position within the team, not left side or middle, whatever, just the right side. Put him there. Let Ten Hag gel him into the squad and tell him what to do and what his what he needs to do also defensively. And I'm positive that he will be of great value. Same with Ronaldo. If he stays at the club, this guy's a baller. Did you see him yesterday? He's carrying the team, And,
yes, he is.
And I want to give a shout out to Matic also, because that pass yesterday.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I was looking. I was watching the match, and I was like, "Wow, did Matic just do that? That was
yeah. That's true.
So,
if a Barcelona midfielder does the same thing, this gets plastered all over social media. Wow, look at the midfield maestro making that pass. It's Matic. He's not at the best of the season, and he's leaving. But yeah, what a pass! And obviously Ronaldo, I always say that he's an alien. But sticking on the Rashford talk and everything, I've been extremely critical of him. But what I will say is, set managers are able to unlock set abilities and skills from players. We have had brilliant players come to our team, come to our organization, but managers haven't been able to unlock their full potential. Do you think Ten Hag has the knack to see what Rashford possesses and maybe go on and unlock the second phase or third phase of Rashford, because he's had a few years where he's been good. He's had an awful season. He's obviously had a bad injury. Going forward, do you actually think Ten Hag's the type of person to unlock something from him? Now, I know. I'll just add Shabi back. Quickly, Shabi back.
Right.
There we go. Now I know. Ten Hag loves personal relationship with players. He really prioritizes that. I've researched it and I found out that he'll back his players in the media, but then
Always.
in the backroom staff, he'll let them know what day it is. But do you think he can really unlock something from set players?
Of course, and I'm positive because there's so many things wrong at the moment. Fast, there's no confidence within the team. You have managers that are fighting for the last minutes at the club. First time Oli, he was every week. It was, will he be sacked or will he survive another week? Same with Ranjek. He wants to implement his gegenpress. He's seeing that the club is sick. He will get another position within the club, but he tries to make the utmost of it in the spell he has left, at the club. Ten Hag will be there for the long term. And now it's time for the club and the fans to get behind him, because what he will do is he will give the players confidence. For example, Gravenberg, where we talked about, he didn't have that great of a season like in the beginning. He had a lot of matches that he was like below par a bit, not really giving the quality and bringing the quality that he has. But he just kept him in the squad, and that is what Ten Hag does with players. He gives them confidence and he tries to boost, making them comfortable in their position and also letting them play if they play maybe a little bit of a bad match. It's not like that he ditched them immediately. I think this is important because the havoc that you guys have in the dressing room, with what I heard about Lingard snitching to Paul Scholes.
Yes.
There are so many problems within the club, but there are sane decisions being made now. And I mentioned this before, I think on United View. That the scouts leaving, certain players being attracted for the staff. Ranjek becoming also a member of the club, in another position. Ten Hag bringing certain people with him to the club. Him asking for more power. All those decisions made are looking towards better times for Manchester United. Also, that they already know that we need to that you guys need to offload a lot of players.
Yes.
So I'm positive that with the right decisions made, with a good pre-season run, that things will turn around.
Yeah, he's already building a foundation, so to say, a foundation, because that's the backbone of a club. He already started building the foundation, and one thing which you will include into the club is, besides the confidence, is the winner's mentality. I mean, that is lacking at the moment at United. Every club coming to Old Trafford knows they can steal points, whether it's a relegation club or not. They know they can win at least a point or three.
That's correct.
Back in the days when you had the Keane, the Scholes, the Giggs, that
What
didn't
did
happen.
you say, Ajax? Sorry?
That didn't happen at all.
Except for Chelsea, they cannot win in your stadium.
But hey, look, Chelsea tried. Chelsea, they need a striker desperately. They need an out-and-out striker desperately, and De Gea as well. That's another person who saved us. I'm gonna come on to this topic of the pressure that comes on with Manchester United. With all due respect to Ajax and the league that Ajax are in, Manchester United, as all of you will know and everybody will agree, it's a different sort of pressure. Now, a lot of the fans, I'm not going to say all, but a lot of the fans, we have come to realization that we are in a bad place. We need to, again, the word rebuild. We need to rebuild. We need to fresh new squad, fresh new players, whatever, fresh new manager, fresh new tactics. But how does Ten Hag deal with this sort of pressure? He's been a manager before in a big club, but in a much more casual environment, not even casual, but in a much more relaxed environment, which is the under-23s when he did it at Bayern Munich. But in terms of coming to Manchester United and dealing with the pressure, the media, the 70, 80,000 fans week in, week out, Europa League, if we get it, that pressure as well. How do you think he deals with that?
Yeah, I think Europe isn't the problem because he's used to being in the Champions League, and playing Champions League with Ajax. So we've been playing at the highest level, and we actually have been performing quite well with a team with a lot less money than all other big teams in big leagues. So the Europe thing, I do not see him that it's much more pressure for him. But in the English competition, in the Premier League, it will be different for him, and I cannot. It's just a guess from me also because he didn't play in one of the big four leagues, So only thing I can tell you is how he is coping with the pressure at Ajax. And this guy is so down to earth. It doesn't look that it's influenced him a bit. It's
Mm.
just, he's so relaxed and just doing his thing and not trying to be like nervous about anything. But it's also the other way around. If he win like with big margins, he's not like being overly happy. Also, he's always trying to find things to do better the next time. He's always being critical and always trying to implement the style even better and to perfect it. So I think he will cope. He will cope well at United. The language may be a problem because he needs to improve a little bit in that area.
I thought he speaks really good English.
You think?
Yeah, the interview that he did, the long interview that he did, which is on YouTube, he was speaking really good English. So I thought he speaks okay English, no?
Maybe I'm wrong because I haven't heard him speak English for quite a while. But
Okay.
I heard it like a few years ago in Europe, when I tried to watch some press conferences before some matches.
Yeah.
And at that point, he was not bad. His vocabulary is good, but his wordings and the way he talked was not optimal. And maybe he took some lessons, because you guys were interested for him since December last year.
Right,
So
guys.
maybe he already anticipated on it and was off the record, trying to improve his English a little bit. So I have to check how he's talking now, and maybe it's a bit better than in the past. But yeah, I think the pressure in the Premier League will be okay. But everything has to do with how the fans will back him, how the club will back him, and not the same problem as has been in the past. Like if there's a bad season that everybody starts screaming for another manager and just ditching him and saying, yeah, he's not good enough. Because the Man United fans just need to realize that also with Liverpool and also with Manchester City, with Pep and Jurgen Klopp, it wasn't there achieved in one season. It took a little while for them to be that dominant, and you can see that the coach at that club is the most important person. And I think if you guys just give Ten Hag the time, that he can become one of the top managers, but don't expect him to do miracles in the first season already.
For sure. There's been some articles. I don't know if it's true or false. I hope it's false, but there's been some articles where it said that certain players in the changing room don't have enough trust and respect towards Ten Hag's CV. Do you think things like that affect him in a club like Manchester United? If a certain player is clearly not fitting into his style of play or his ethos, or is he the type of person say you don't fit in, you're out?
Sahbi, take one.
I mean, yeah, I think so. We already seen in the newspapers, in the articles, that he is already having Zoom calls with the whole squad, the whole selection of Manchester United. So, I mean, players in the dressing room always trying to say it's not a big name. He didn't coach a big team in a big league, etc. But they will get to know him once they have a discussion with him. They will get to know him, and they will find out that he breathes football, that he knows everything already about United, that he already knows everything about that specific player to whom he's talking about. So he will try to convince them, and he already knows now which players he wants to keep and which players he don't want to keep. I mean, that man is 24 hours busy with football, and now that he knows, now that's all in the air that United will be his next job. And he already says to the Ajax fans, like, I'm only concentrating on Ajax. But I mean, that BS. I mean, he's definitely already looking forward to the next season with United, and he's already planning everything. That's why he scheduled the calls with the United squad members. So they will find out. He's one hell of a coach. That's for sure.
Talk to me about this situation of when managers come into a club. They obviously bring certain players with them. They have their favorites, but set managers, they have a what you call kind of magnetic pull towards big names. Manchester United have always been known to pull big names and big budget players, big transfers. I think we're kind of trying to go away from that. Maybe look for players that aren't just the name. Maybe look for players that fit in with the manager's kind of tactics. And obviously, Ten Hag possibly has it in his contract that he wants full control of transfers in the squad. Do you think he has that kind of pull in terms of bringing players in and telling them, this thing about Calvin Phillips, I'll just give for example, or Chouameni. Me personally, I've been going on about Chouameni. I think he'd be the perfect fit for this time, the price, and the phase that we're going into. But can he have that pull? So if Chouameni is leaning towards, okay, maybe I might go Real Madrid, maybe I might go Liverpool or whatever, like Sir Alex did. He would point at a player and say, you're coming to Manchester United, you're part of my plan. Do you think Ten Hag can do the same with certain players? I'll go with you, Ajax.
Yeah, I think he can. And Fast, let's be honest, the signings that you guys did at Manchester United for years now, are you happy with it?
Like I said before, I think set managers haven't been able to unlock set potential from set players. I think we've had some great signings, but things have just gone wrong. I honestly do not know how or why. I think if we had a proper set manager, and I think we did with Jose. Jose did give us silverware if we were a bit more patient, but hey, fans don't like his style of play, XYZ. Players didn't like his approach at times, and I think this brings me on to the discipline aspect of things as well. Set players, they come in, they have a whatever hairstyle, this, that. I like managers who are extremely disciplined.
Oh, you will have one.
Straight,
You will have that indeed.
Yeah,
you will have that.
100 million or if you have a Nike deal, Adidas deal, this deal, I don't care less. Your football does the talking. End of discussion. And that's the type of manager I think we had with Mourinho, but this player power situation took more of a control. And I hope now, whatever player comes in, big or small name, respectfully, I hope that discipline gets installed.
Yeah, this will be done definitely. And to get back to Mourinho, I'm not his biggest fan, but he did win some silverware for you guys. So kudos to him. But his way of playing football, it's not realistic anymore in modern football days at the moment. I think the style that Liverpool plays, the style that Pep Guardiola plays with Manchester City, this is a style that attracts a certain that attracts a lot of people to the stadium. They love to see their team play football. And with Mourinho, there's a different style. So I totally understand that the fans didn't like his way of playing. He can win prizes sometimes, but I've never been a fan of the way he plays. But it works in modern football also sometimes to just sit back, counterattack, play defensively, and wait for that one chance. We got eliminated that way against Benfica again this season, against a team that was not a better opponent, but not a better team. We were dominating, but still we lost. So sometimes in football this works. But to get back to your question, Fast, I asked you that question because your signings, in my opinion, have not been the greatest. And I'm not saying the names that were signed, like Ronaldo or Sancho, because you need to look at certain areas that need to be strengthened. And I mentioned this before. So just have faith in the manager that he will do it differently this time than you guys have been doing the last seasons. Because let's be honest, you're probably not happy with the results last seasons and the signings getting in, Of course, you have the GOAT, and he's saving a lot of points for you now. But maybe if there was a better scouting system, if there was a better philosophy within the club, other players would have been bought. If I was part of your club, and I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I would have never, ever bought Sancho for that kind of money. He's a terrific player. He's an attractive player. He can bring a lot in the future. He's still young. But for that money, you could have maybe bought 2 proper defenders. This is something that you will need much more within your team.
Yes. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I mean when I say is go and let Ralph do Ralph things. Go and let Ten Hag do Ten Hag things. Exactly. Find that player. Give him a season and a half. Be patient, Things like this take time. This actually brings smoothly on to my next question is, there are fans who are saying if Ten Hag doesn't secure Champions League in the first season, # Ten Hag out. What would you have to say to them? I'll start with you, Sahbi.
No, I mean, It's ridiculous. I mean, did you see the team now? That is, see the performance of this current team. I
Mm,
mean, he's not a magician. He can't do miracles in one season. The whole, I mean, half of the squad needs to be removed just by saying that. I mean, he has to implement a new system, and he has to implement. He has to bring in new players. There's so many things that needs to be changed. I mean, it will be a miracle if he gets the top four. I mean, it will be a real miracle. My opinion, I think the first 5 6 months will be extremely difficult for fans to see. I mean, just as he did with Ajax, the first few months were also terrible. Were also terrible to see because he needs time. He needs time. But after that period of 6 months, you will see that engine going, going, going. And in the second season, I expect for sure that there will be a top four a place for United and a way better football and a football that can be identified as nice to see football, attacking football, pressing football, trying to press from the start, defenders defending up high and not leaning back, just as we have
mm,
seen. Yes, just as we've seen against Chelsea, they were all leaning back. The attackers were leaning back. There was so much space between the lines. I
that's
mean, it
correct.
was so horrible. All the attacks of Chelsea came from the wings. They could easily pick up the ball, look beside them, and then give a cross. There was absolutely no pressure. And I mean, Tanaka would be pissed if he had seen that game. And for sure, I know for sure that he was pissed when he watched yesterday. This is not the type of football that he wants to see. So it
Mm,
takes time. It takes. I mean, as Ajax said, Guardiola, he did. I mean, Rome isn't built in one day,
that's for
so
sure.
you have to. It has to take time, and fans need to be patient. So if the fans state that within 1 year, no Champions League spot hashtag Ten Hag, hashtag Ten Hag out, they don't even know in what status they are at this moment.
Part of me, I wouldn't say I understand them, but I get them. They have this level of expectation. Manchester United, Sir Alex Ferguson,
Yeah,
Cristiano Ronaldo, 80 million pound defender, 80 million pound winger. Marcus
yeah,
Rashford. These names, you would think that okay, Man United should be in that conversation. But I say to these fans all the time, and I argue with them in Twitter spaces all the time, and I say to them, look, acceptance is the start of success. Accept we aren't that team. Accept structurally we're in a really bad place. Our wage structure, for
yeah,
example, our recruitment structure, for example,
everything.
manager structure, for example, director structure, for example, all these things. Me personally, this is my 2 cents. I am fully, fully, fully behind Ten Hag. I am
Yeah,
actually any player can get it from me. Honestly, I am fully behind Ten Hag, especially because I have actually gone and really like seen Ajax gameplay time and time again. And I've seen, okay, this manager's coming to my squad. Let me go and actually understand his style of play. And I have seen Ajax do things that make me go, oh, they're capable of it. Set players of Ajax, they're not. They're not the Jaden Sanchos. Let's be real. They're not the
no,
Ronaldo. They're not Marcus Rashford caliber that he was 2 years ago. Yeah. They're not even, for example, McTominay at times or Fred or Bruno. But as a team, Ajax is able to display effort on the
yeah,
pitch. Ajax is able to display, oh, when we go 1-0 down or when we concede a goal, we're still Ajax. We're still Ten Hag's team. We're not going to give up. We're not going to put our heads down and not put an
exactly.
effort in. This is what I'm looking forward to. For years, it's happened. People have put players first. I'm done with it. I am not doing
Mhm.
that. If something is going wrong, I actually fully will hold players accountable. I don't think Ten Hag is the type of person to be blamed if we don't get top four the first season. There's obviously fundamental things wrong with the club, but it has to be players, and we have to be patient. And this thing of player power, I'd be very interesting to see if he has the guts to take the armband of Harry Maguire. Do you think it's something that he could do as a big, bold statement, coming into the biggest club in the world, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and says, you, not good enough, armband off. Do you think he could do that?
Well, he will do that. I'm quite
What
positive
about
about it. He will do that. I mean, just be honest. I'll be honest. If you look at Maguire, not the way he performs, because that, let's keep that aside. I mean, everybody agrees that he's playing terrible. But if you look at the respect that he gains from his teammates, I don't see that at all. I think that should be
Mm,
the number one. You should have that respect
I
from
like you.
your
I like you.
colleagues, from your
You
team
think like
members.
me.
I mean, if
Yes.
you have Rashford who says "fuck off" to Maguire, where is the respect? I mean, you don't. If there's no respect coming from your teammates towards the captain, there's no reason to be a captain, because that's the
You could,
number
you
one
know,
thing.
yeah, being a captain doesn't mean you have to be the best player on the pitch. It
Exactly.
means being a leader, being able to pick your
Exactly.
team up when they're down, being able to be that glue of the team. And I'd be very interested to see who he makes the captain. I'm gonna come on to you, Ajax, and ask you this question. I'm speculating, but Harry Maguire, after the very unfortunate and disgusting incident about his and the bomb threat and whatever that was,
Yeah.
he obviously got benched, and then he has an injury as well. The
Yeah.
state of injury I'm not really clear on, but clearly he's had a bad traumatic situation. And then he's benched, and Bruno's the captain. Do you think Ten Hag is on the phone to Ralph Ragnick at 8 p.m. and saying, make Bruno captain? I want to see what he does. Do you think that's what's happening?
I will not say it's not possible because he's a perfectionist and the possibility is there. But for me, it's crystal clear, Fest. There's only one player at the club at the moment that can get that armband next season, and that's the GOAT. And why? I will explain this to you. There are not many players at your club that have the Manchester United identity. You know, like those big names that in the past wore that armband. You know, like a Keane and a Rooney and a Neville and more of those players. So the only logical thing is if the GOAT stays at your club, make him your captain next season. Probably he will retire the season after or maybe move on. Then you
Mm,
have the possibility to reshape your group next season while he is the captain and he has the respect of everybody in football. You know, nobody's going to disrespect Ronaldo. Not
mm,
not gonna happen. So he has the stature, he has the experience, he's the GOAT, and he's the logical player to make the captain. And in that season, you can already see how the team established itself. And
mm,
also new signings will be at the club for like a season, and you can see who the real leaders are within the team next to your captain. And Maguire, sorry to say, he's not a leader because leaders lead by example. He's not doing that.
mm.
Leaders are respected by other players, but you can see that they are not valuing his opinion and disrespecting him. These are two pivotal things for a captain to have. Ronaldo definitely has this. So the only logical thing to do, in my opinion, is making Ronaldo captain and then see the season after if he stays or that you make another player captain. This is the only thing to bridge that year, I think.
I think it's the most logical sense to give the player with the biggest identity and the player that every person would, no matter how big you are, you're gonna look up to him. It doesn't make sense. So even if he's there for a season or 2 seasons, it makes the most sense to give it to him. I would agree with you. I want to move on to the training aspect of things. I know it's been circling about again on articles and XYZ that fitness is one of the most important, if not the number one priority for Ten Hag coming into Manchester United. We have seen players blatantly not doing the Gegenpress that Ralph imposed the first week or two that he imposed. We have seen players say, nope, I'm not doing that. And then Ralph went and changed the formation to the one that they're more accustomed to. Um, how does Ten Hag implement this harsh training? I'm hearing things about he's requested an extra pitch, and the youth team are like, there's certain trainings about around the youth team settings that he's trying to look into do. So obviously, fitness and these extra set of training stuff, whatever that he's doing, is clearly going to be an extra toll on the players, especially after Ole, he was such a babysitter with the players. How does he implement the training aspect and if players are maybe complaining? Manchester United players have been heard before saying, I am not training when it's dark, I am not training when it's this. How does he deal with stuff like that? I'll
Yeah,
start with you, Ajax. Yeah.
yeah, easily. Because, like Sahbi said before, players will hate him at first because he's demanding a lot of them. and he's trying to get them fit to play the style of football that is necessary. So not like play that style of football and be fatigued after 60 minutes. No, being able to do it like the whole match. And you can see with Manchester City and Liverpool, they are in fifth gear the whole damn match.
That's correct.
The way they are fit, the way they are playing, they are drilled. You know, they know the style the coach wants to play. And Ten Hag is a coach that wants this too from the players. And we as Ajax played a lot of matches that we just passed and pressed and were at the opponent's half for 50, 60, 70 minutes. And a lot of times they didn't budge. And then that last 15, 20 minutes, they were exhausted because they had to run so much and there were so many position switches and so many runs made by the Ajax players that at the end, they are so fatigued that they usually can get that win in the end. But in a lot of matches, especially last season, but this season sometimes a little bit difficult against Park the Bus teams. But in a lot of matches, we were already up like 2-3-0 at halftime. And this season maybe a little bit less, but last season that was like normal.
Wow.
We had matches that we won 11-0, I believe, or 14-0. This is not you cannot imagine this. And also this season, you know, until the winter break, maybe a little bit later in the winter break, we had like 2-3 goals conceded in total. We had like 1 goal conceded or 2 goals conceded in the Champions League and 2 in the competition, like 4 goals after the group stage.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And it turned around a bit last weeks because the players are getting tired. And I think a lot of players are, if they're being honest, also with their minds at different clubs, because some are going away for free. Some are in contract negotiations like Gravenberg. Some stated that they wanted to leave the club. The manager is going for Manchester United. And you can tell me a lot of things, but those things influence you. If you wanted to, or you want to block it out, it still influences you.
That's
so
true.
I just hope that our team can just win those last 4 matches and be done with it. And then we can have a fresh start next season with the players that stay and the new manager. But I'm not afraid with the training style, Fast. He will get them on board. And the problem with your current squad is Ranjik is an interim manager for 6 months. The players know he's temporary, you know? So he can tell them whatever they want, and they are like, yeah, you can tell us whatever you want, but you will be gone in 6 months. So I'm not going to do it, you know? And this is the problem. And Ten Hag is there for the long run. Ten Hag is trying to implement for the long run the philosophy he wants at the club, so players better comply, or otherwise they will be benched or maybe removed from the club.
I'm looking forward to that aspect of things. I am looking forward to seeing big names or big players or certain players. If they're not coming into shape, I'm looking forward to seeing them not in the squad. That tells me that the manager is serious.
To add one little thing, and then I'm done with answering the question. It would be the smartest thing to do for Ten Hag to make Ronaldo captain. Because there were some rumors like, are they gelling together? Will they get along? Will Ronaldo respect him? Will Ten Hag be able to cope with big names, you know, like Ronaldo? What better to make him your captain, to include him in your squad and make him the person that carries out your duties within the team, within the first 11. You create a certain bond with each other and you include him and you give him the respect that he deserves as one of the GOATs in modern football, you know? So this is the best thing, in my opinion, that he can do. So, sorry, go ahead. I'm done now.
Now, with regards to his training regime, I mean, there's a story for with his former club, FC Utrecht, where the players, when he just started, I mean, they were trash, FC Utrecht before he started. But when they started, he had like such a strict training regime that all the key players, all the veterans within the club went to management and asked them to fire Ten Hag only because of the training regime. They were doing so much, they had to train the whole day. And that's basically what Ten Hag wants at the start. He wants to drill them because the type of style that Ten Hag wants to play, you need the stamina, you need that fitness, you need the whole package. So, yeah, they were really complaining, and they wanted to get him fired. But at the end, you could see how fit they were. Back then, they even got the Europa League qualification because of the way they were fit. the same applied with Ajax when they came. It was really hard working, hard training, etc., etc. And this will be the same thing at United. And people just need to accept. They need to comply, as Ajax said, or there's the door. I mean,
Mm.
he has one mission, and in order to able to complete that mission, you need all the players aboard. The ones who don't want to don't want to get on board will just have to leave.
I think this thing about the players believing in the manager and having that confidence will come with time. You know, when things are going bad, of course everybody's looking like whose fault is it? But everybody has to accept first 4 months, 3 months, maybe even 5, 6 months is gonna be dark. You know, I'm gonna be there facing literally the where I sit in the stadium is literally facing Ten Hag. I'm gonna be there looking and just I'll have to take it on the chin. There will be times when we'll be left open and De Gea will have to save us again and again and again. There will be times when Ronaldo will have to do Ronaldo alien things and save us again and again. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, I believe. I want to ask you this question, Ajax, and then I'll move on to you, Sahbi. We've seen situations where players have blatantly gone on social media and then disregarded what the manager has said. We have seen this with the situation with Lingard and Ralph. We've seen this a little bit with the situation with Eric Bailly when someone made a comment saying, "Why aren't you getting minutes?" or "What will he have to do to get minutes?" And he's making comments on Instagram. Doesn't matter if Ralph is the interim manager. You have to have the utmost respect. You can't go on social media. Ralph has said, "Lingard, you were available to play. I wanted you to play." Lingard went on to social media and said, "The manager didn't pick me." There's a clear division, and it's so bad, especially in public. Do you think this type of things slide with Ten Hag? How does he control these type of things?
He isn't on Instagram and Twitter, I believe, so they're lucky. But you will be damn sure that he knows if something is happening. But
For sure.
in all honesty, Faz, I think things are starting to align for Manchester United because there's been stated that you guys will offload a lot of players. So this is actually a good thing in the next season because now you will know if the players want to fight and actually be at Manchester United, because probably you will give them a fair chance at the beginning of the preseason, that they have to fight for it. And if they do not show that they want to go for it and give their utmost, there's the door. And let's be honest, not a lot of players within your team are like indisposable. Most of them can go. So they will have to fight, and a little group and a certain group of players will stay at United because they can comply to the style, and otherwise they will be moved on. And this is actually a great thing, because if this was not stated that a big offload is needed, then they will be feeling more safe, But nobody is safe next season. So you will be sure who the rotten apples are at the beginning of the season, and they will move on, and he will eliminate them from the team. I'm positive of this. So I think the problem with undermining him will not happen that soon, because he's not accepting being undermined that well, because he respects his players. He tries to protect his players from the outworld besides the team, to keep the team morale high. What he's expecting from inwards in his team, he's expecting the same respect and team feeling that he tries to establish and protect from the outside. So this is what will happen, and I think players will act differently next season.
What about you, Sahbi? What do you think? How does he deal with this social media situation when players go onto social media and say certain things or disregard the manager? Do you think he deals with it in a very strict manner, or
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's quite strict manager. As Ajax said, he's always protecting his players towards the media. Always. It's irrelevant whether it's correct or not correct, whether they did a bad job or not, and so on. But he's always protected them. I'm quite sure that in a one-on-one conversation, he will punish them, or he will say anything like he can
like
be
that.
very hard to them. But that's one great thing about this coach. He is protecting them at all costs. So if some player posts something on social media, a bad thing about the coach, he will still defend him. He will try to say, like, okay, it's his opinion, I will talk to him, etc., etc. but I'm positive that he won't send any social media statement or something afterwards, because yeah, he's very strict. That's one thing that's for sure.
Let's talk about this. Obviously, he has a lot of connection with Pep. People say, he's
Yeah,
pretty much, or if not, a very good style. He plays the same style as Pep and etc. But
yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm sure, and you guys will agree, he has his own identity. He has his own style of play. Um, how do you think he does he change his style of play maybe now that he's coming into the Premier League? Klopp, he's extended his contract. Pep may stay for a good few more years. Do you think he tries to do something new so that people don't say, "Oh, he's basically a copy of Pep"? Do you think he'll implement something new or stick to with the 4-3-3 that he normally plays, or is it 4-2-3-1?
I think he will try to implement his style of football, but it will be a possibility fast that he discovers that something else is needed in the Premier League compared to the Eredivisie. So maybe that he tries to alter it a little bit to keep more balance within the team, because the Premier League is much harder, way more physique than the Eredivisie. So maybe another balance is needed. But I think the big principles of his style will be the same. So, and to get back to your question, will he be a Pep Guardiola too, or a different style? Let's be honest. Pep's style is the style of Johan Cruyff.
Mm,
Pep Guardiola is a Cruyff adept. He tries to play like Cruyff. He was a player under Cruyff, and he is a big fan of Johan Cruyff. So the style that Pep plays, it's not something that is totally new. He maybe implemented a little bit different and try to implement certain attacking elements a little bit more. But the main style he's playing is the Cruyff philosophy. So like Erick Ten Hag is an adept of that too. So I think there will be similarities, but the problem for Ten Hag is he needs to create a team from scratch, and Pep is already a few years ahead. So you will have to expect him to get there in the long run with the great signings and the right philosophy, but not at first. It's just too soon. But to get back to what Sahbi said, I think it's not an impossible situation to get fourth in the first season. Sahbi was talking about a miracle, but let's be honest. You have Manchester City and you have Liverpool. You have Chelsea somewhere in between, but even they are not playing optimal lately. So
sure.
every other team that is fighting for fourth place, it's an open battle. And Manchester United may seem like they are a little bit behind other teams at the moment, but if you just align certain stuff in the preseason and you create a certain morale within the team, make smart decisions, and try to give that confidence back to the players, some nice stuff can happen. And it's not that big of a gap to the fourth place. So not saying he will definitely get it, but to talk about a miracle, no. I think it's a possibility, even in the first season, if things really click, to get a fourth. And even maybe, I'm not saying it's a definite thing, but it is a possibility to maybe even get third, because if Chelsea doesn't play well and everything is clicking with a few right signings, it can be possible, but you have to be realistic, expect it more in the second or the third season, but it can even surprise us maybe in the first season. I'm not excluding it.
It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. I mean, you have to wait. You have to wait what the other clubs do. I mean, you have the Arsenal, you have the Tottenham. Those are competitors for fourth place as well. Arsenal is already in the build-up. They started already last season. So yeah, you have to have that bit of luck, and you just have to see. You need to have the right players. You need the players to act as a team. Everybody needs to be on board, and if that would be the case, yeah, you never know. But it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult, especially the first months.
Let's quickly bring in one of my friends who wants to ask you a question. So obviously, if you guys are watching, this is a dial-in show, so you can use the link in the bio, in the description of the video, to dial in and ask myself or the panel any questions that you have. I'll bring in Trebs. Trebs, how you doing, bro? Can you hear us?
Hello. Yeah, hello. I'm all right, man. How are you lot?
I'm good. Thank you. So,
Yeah.
what is your
Do
question
they...
for the panel, and who is it for?
Nah, it's these guys. Do they speak Dutch? Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think they definitely do speak Dutch.
Hey,
I
we
think
Spreek je Nederlands?
Ja, of
Ja,
course.
spreken Nederlands.
Spreek
Ja, oké,
Nederlands.
natuurlijk. Ik wil tegen je zeggen, je is Ten Hag een goede manager.
Trebs, I think it's
is
better if
goeie.
you speak in English because I cannot translate
No,
Dutch.
obviously, you know, I can
Sorry.
relate. But I speak English. What I was saying to him, yeah, is obviously I was asking him, what do you think Ten Hag will work out for us?
Yeah.
So
Who do you want to answer? Me or Sahbi or?
any of you two, man, if you can answer that.
Yeah,
Man.
I think he will be great for you guys, Traps, especially in the long run. I think you will see some differences already in the first season. But the only thing I can tell you to watch you as a Manchester United fan and other people watching, stand behind your manager and try to do things differently this time and not be overly critical that first season or maybe the beginning of the second season. Give the guy some time, let him do his thing. Trust Ralph also doing his thing within the club and also with the new scouting system probably in place, and just trust the process, like a big player in the NBA always says. So trust the process, and everything will be okay. Man.
Yeah,
What about you, Sahbi? What do you have to say to that?
Sahbi.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I agree with EyeJax. You need to trust the process. I mean, there are a lot of changes that need to be implemented: the formation, the system, the new players. So it will take time. And as I said earlier, the first months will be difficult because players need to adjust to the new system. But once they are acquainted with the new system, they will do great. So I expect after the winter break next season that we will see the start of the type of football that all the United fans wants to see. But yeah, as I said, it will take time. So you need to really stand behind them, stay patient. Don't expect a lot first season because United might drop a lot of points at the start. But yeah, it will be the start of something special if you look at the second season. I'm very positive about that.
All right. Big up Trebs. Do you have any more questions? Trebs, are you there? I think he might not be there. I think his network is gone or something. But yeah, thank you for the question, Trebs, and big up yourself anyways. We'll bring in the next person. Firma, how you doing, bro?
Hey, how you doing?
EyeJax and Shabi, if you don't know, Firma is an extremely elite lyricist who he's laughing, but it's no laughing matter, it's serious. He sums up every game of Manchester United in a 16-bar kind of or 8-bar rap, and he's so accurate and precise. Make sure you go check him out.
Hit us up on Twitter, man. And
oh, he's very good. He's very good. And that was 10% of commission that I just took from him. But Firma, the stage is yours. Ask your question.
Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks for allowing us to have you on this show and ask questions. I've got a few questions. So, Manchester United, we've been talking about a rebuild that's needed, and it just feels like it's a repetitive thing, always having to do a rebuild. And many managers have been backed, especially maybe in like the first year, got their players and then got kicked out the door. How many players do you feel like Manchester United need, additional players to what we've got, to get us going again? And how would you prioritize them, like a DM, striker, centre back? Like, what would your priority be, or Ten Hag's priority be? Do you think?
Who you want to answer?
Yeah,
we'll start with Sahbi first, and then EyeJax can go after that.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the current squad, you have to prioritize the defense. You have to prioritize the defense and the defensive midfield. Those are the players that are really lacking quality. They're lacking speed. They're lacking like the winner's mentality. If you look at, I mean, I'm not trying to bash Maguire, but he doesn't do a proper job at this moment. The same applies with Varane, who is injury prone. He's quite a good player, but yeah, you can't rely on him a lot. And with regards to defensive midfield, I mean, you got players like Matic, but he will be leaving. You got McTominay. Yeah, I'm not a real fan of McTominay. I would rather have a player who knows to play ball from the back and try to build up the play together with the defense. So I would think about a player like Frankie de Jong. who would be excellent in this current in the starting lineup. He can build up the play. He can move the ball forward. He can break. He can send players deep. He's the whole package. I think that's one thing that really is required at this moment. So the central defense and the defensive midfield is a priority. I would also think about a new right back, because Dalot and Wan-Bissaka, they're not Manchester United material. They're
Do you
not
want them? We'll sell them to you. If you want them, you
50
can have them.
million.
No, thank you.
10 million. Have them.
You can have it.
No, but I would focus on those positions, because attacking wise, you're quite solid. You can have one or two additional players, because Ronaldo is the only quality striker that you currently have in possession. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people are bashing Rashford, but if currently he has that, he's a baller, but he lacks that confidence, and he currently has a shit mentality. Like don't want to defend, don't want to help out the other teammates. I'm quite positive and confident that Ten Hag can turn that around. So I will keep him definitely. But yeah, and there's of course that keeper, the goalkeeper issue. A lot of fans are bashing De Gea because of his lack of distribution of the ball. But I don't think that's a priority for now. So Ten Hag will probably leave him there as he is, because he did quite a proper job against Chelsea. So yeah, it will be the defense and defensive midfield, which the main focus will be upon for Ten Hag.
And Ajax, your take on that?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to give a big shout out to my boy and fellow WeTalk panel member, Papi Mental, because I'm going to quote him. Last time on United View, with his last words, he said, you guys need to rebuild the squad, and only in the first 11, 7 new signings are needed. I do not know which puzzle he was trying to make, but I will comply a little bit with his words. I think what Sahbi said makes sense. I think a whole new defense is needed. I will not worry about De Gea, because the GOAT saved you yesterday by that great pass of Matic. But the other GOAT in the defense, in the goal, he saved you so many times this season. So
thank you.
Every fan that is saying he's not good enough, we need another keeper, please try and watch back this season, because this guy saved you so many points. He even saved 3 penalties against Watford that had to be retaken over and over again. He saved your ass against Villarreal in the group stage that you went through. This guy is just a terrific keeper, and things like ball distribution can be learned. And if you have like solid defenders in front of you, there's not that much needed from you as a goalkeeper. You have to try and implement that style of football, and you can tell me anything, but a goalkeeper can distribute the ball. Let's be honest. But if you have like nervous defenders in front of you, there's more pressure on you also. So De Gea it's not even a problem. I think he will be the number 1 goalkeeper next year. But the defense is like Varane, like Sahbi said, is injury prone. Harry Maguire is Harry Maguire. Let's be honest. So that is a big problem. The wingbacks are all not sufficient enough, especially not if you want to play a style like Liverpool or like Ajax plays or like Manchester City plays. You need attackers of wingbacks that can attack. And let's be honest, I think if you accumulate all the assists given by the wingbacks this season, is it more than one hand? I don't think so. So you need some proper players there. And I do have some hopes, and I know a lot of players or a lot of fans don't like Alex Telles, but I think maybe there's more from him to be pulled out by Ten Hag than from Shaw. And also the lot on the right side, it's a better option than Wan-Bissaka. I'm not saying that they will be your future wingbacks, but they will be the backup at least. So a strong defensive midfielder is also needed. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think if we have to prioritize a CDM and maybe a centre back, maybe another striker. So let's say in those 3 positions, striker and CDM or a midfielder being more important because Ronaldo can't play week in, week out. I think the wing backs will have to do for now. I think the wing backs will have to, like you just said, will have to squeeze something out of them. Ten Hag will have to figure out some sort of way to implement them a bit better. I mean, he does like his wing backs to overlap. He does like his wing backs to be more attacking based. And the formation he plays 4-3-3, or is it the 4-2-3-1 at times? He likes his wingers to stretch out all the way right to the line. You know, the wing backs coming in and helping out, or the wingers coming back and helping out. So these are some aspects of the game that the wing backs will have to pick up and learn. So, sorry, you say?
I have to add something to this also.
Yeah.
Because what I think that a lot of fans tend to forget, and we have that identity because we are having one of the best, maybe the best youth academy in the world. Why do I not hear any opponent or anybody usually say play some of the youth players? You have a terrific striker with that. I think he's Charlie McNay, or what is his name? The striker. He's scoring so many goals for your club. If you have the GOAT at your club, and maybe Martial is coming back, and even Rashford can play in the striker position, you do not even need maybe a backup striker, because all of those three can play in that position, and just get him also to the first team, that he can soak up the knowledge of Ronaldo for a season. He will definitely not be the second striker or maybe the third striker, but he will train with the team. He will soak up the knowledge. What better tutor than Ronaldo for a young and upcoming player like that guy? He's been doing it in a lot of youth teams already for United for many years. So why not being more creative? And Ten Hag also looks at those kind of things. You know, he looks at the youth academy. He tries to be at matches of the youth academy. You saw him at young Ajax, for example, last game they played, which we won 6-1. You saw him in the crowd with his English hat that he wears all of a sudden, and he's just trying to scout the team. So do not forget all the youth products that you have in the academy. And the thing with these kind of players is, if you play them and they play well and they can be implemented within your team, you have identity in your team. You do not want only a foreign legion to just be your first 11. You need players, again, that has the heart for Man United, that come from your academy and can be a big player in the future. And this is important also. So be creative with those kind of things. You can easily implement him as an attacker next season to be with the squad so that you have the depth. But buy those important puzzle pieces that are missing, like the defense or maybe the defensive midfielder. Because even with Donny and Bruno, you can fill in 2 positions in the midfield. But you have to have some backup there, especially with some players leaving and especially with some players not good enough to fill those positions. Because Pogba is probably leaving, Matic is leaving. I don't know about Juan Mata, but there are a lot of midfielders going away. So you need a little bit of backup. So maybe a few from the academy, and a few maybe being signed from elsewhere. This would be my advice.
I think I just want to add as well to that is Manchester United fans are very notorious in hyping up young players very early. We create this massive ceiling of expectations from young individuals where we should be giving them space. We should be giving them room for improvement. We should be giving them room for mistakes. But we don't. We already attach a future transfer value. Maybe they'll win the Ballon d'Or in the future. Oh my God, my star boy, XYZ. And it creates a high level of expectation when they should just be enjoying football and, like you said, soaking up everything from the goal and all the other senior players. That is something that I'm very much interested to see from Ten Hag. It's not always the case going and spending 50-60 million and looking for a solution that way. You have youth products that are able to produce
and he's looking to that. He is looking into that. He always looks at the youth academy. That's something that that he always does. So that's a good thing basically for the academy of United, because United has a terrific youth academy. They're winning prizes, as I've seen in several articles. So there should be 1 or 2 or 3 gems from the youth academy who can easily cope with the level within the United squad. And indeed, as EyeJax said, to soak up a little bit of that knowledge and gain a bit of experience without even playing games. Like, give them some training hours, just like Phil Foden got with City. I mean, he started many years ago already playing few minutes, and then the next season playing a little bit more minutes. And as you see now, he's becoming a starter. He is a starter. So it takes time. But yeah, Ten Hag always looks at these types of players. So I'm not afraid we will not see any players from the youth academy coming up into the first squad.
But to add to this, let's briefly pass. You know, while you take those big signings into your squad, you're undermining your own youth academy. And if you do this, you place a player there for several years on a big salary and you stagnate the growth of your youth products. So you have to evaluate, and you will be damn sure Ten Hag will do this, what kind of quality you have within the team, within the academy already, and only sign those players that you see that you do not have in the academy, that you have a lack of in your team, and fill in those puzzle pieces, even with big money signings, but for that specific area. And this is why I was telling you, like, Anthony, terrific player. He can be terrific for any team in the Premier League, also for Manchester United. But please take a look at what you already have and spend that money elsewhere. Look at your youth academy. Which pieces do I have? Which fit the team? Which fits the philosophy of Ten Hag? And which little pieces am I missing? Where do we do not have sufficient backup of? Those kind of players you need to buy. And if you will start doing that, I think there will be the puzzle will start to fit, and great things can happen in the future.
Let me add to this, Ajax, that even though we have a starting, we have certain players, at least United has a certain players that can easily play in the starting lineup. You have to have a backup with also quality players. I mean, if you look at City, if you look at their bench, quality players. If you look at Liverpool, quality players on the bench. If you look at United, I mean, I looked yesterday at the bench of United. I only saw youth players. I saw Mata as one of the experienced players, one of the greats with Jones, I think. So you do need some, and we all know in the Premier League you play a lot of matches. So you don't need to rely only on your youth products, but you need to have some additional quality players so they can compete with each other. Because
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That is So, sorry, I was going to say that is absolutely perfect what you've just said in the most perfectest way that you could have said it, and you took the words right out of my mind. I've said this time and time ago. How many people are competing with Bruno for his position? How many people are competing with McTominay and Fred? How many people are competing for the winger position? We as a squad, and let's not forget next season with the 5 subs that are coming in, we as a club do not have enough players, period. We just don't. No. In yesterday's game, Sancho didn't play because of his tonsillitis, Cavani with a calf injury, such a person, XYZ, 7 players out. I guarantee you, if this was a Champions League game, Champions League semi-final, quarter-final, whatever, maybe 3 of the players actually play. Maybe they don't say they're injured. This thing about, yes, it's just, I know Ajax is smiling, but it happens. Footballers nowadays, they are turning to protecting themselves and not playing for the badge. And tonsillitis, I mean, as much as I love Sancho, I don't really think tonsillitis ever really, I don't think tonsillitis stops Ronaldo. Let's just put it in that perspective.
But fast, it's allowed by your club. Your club isn't acting on it. The players are not being fined. Do you think at Ajax, if a player fakes an injury and all of a sudden wants to play again, that it is allowed? Don't you have like medical staff at your club that checks certain injuries if it's true or not? Like you're one of the biggest clubs in the world. You cannot tell me that there's not a medical team that checks what the injury is and how worse the injury is, or etc. But it is allowed at the club. If you will not fine a player or treat him if he does something bad, you know that there's a consequence on it. It keeps happening. So it all you can say, yeah, it's a bad thing from the players. No, it's a bad thing from the club itself. Because if you not act upon it, they take the room. You know, they
set up a precedent.
Yeah.
And talking about the quality on the bench, right, Sahbi, you touched on it. I think at a point, even in the last window, right, Manchester United were purposely looking for players to be backup. So Alex Telles was purposely a specific mode to be backup to Luke Shaw, rather than actively competing and actively providing a proper challenge. Same with our right back, Wan-Bissaka. I know we made a big investment of 50 million, but we were looking for Kieran Trippier, a sort of older mode, someone that was, relatively of cheap, got outpriced in the end. But I think we're purposely looking for that rather than going for players that can actually replace even what we've got, so that we've got real competition. And that is some of the challenges that Man United were facing going forward in the transfer window. Our transfer strategy has been really poor.
No, exactly. But there is a budget, as far as I'm informed upon,
Yeah.
and a lot of
Yeah.
players will be leaving. So there is enough sufficient funds to get those specific players. And Ten Hag, what he always did with Overmars when he was at Ajax, if they wanted to attract a certain player, they don't. It's not like the only Overmars was calling that player. It was Ten Hag as well, who talk to the player, who show them what he sees in that player, to show him what kind of chances he will get, what kind of what can he achieve within the club, to give him that confidence, to confidence boost, to attract him to come to Ajax. He will do the same at United. If there's a specific player in which he's interested in, he together with Ranić, he will call that specific player and try to attract him, because it's not only United that wants him, it's Ten Hag that wants him. The player wants to feel valuable. So yeah, if there's a certain player that he really wants, he will do his utmost to get him there. So hopefully for you guys, Frankie de Jong will come.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows him, yeah, he will have a price tag. He loves Barcelona, so it will be a difficult task for Ten Hag.
Yeah. But
Indeed.
to be honest, I saw him at the match last time, and he was actually quite sad and mad on his, the expression on his face. I've never seen him this mad and like disappointed when playing for Barcelona. So something is going on there. I do not know what, but it isn't the happy Frankie that we used to see at Ajax and at Barcelona at his first year and a half. So something bad is going on there, and I cannot put my finger on it what it is. But maybe there's a chance for Manchester United, if he is he's like his morale is down and maybe he's not happy at Barcelona, that they can poach him. So yeah, let's hope so, because he will be, and I said before, he will be the resolution for your midfield. This guy can really put you to the next level.
I would love to have De Jong on my squad as well as the next question that I have for you, and this is probably my last question leading on to the live, is Donny van de Beek. Absolutely loves Ten Hag. Ten Hag loves him. I've seen highlights and stuff around him when he was, under Ten Hag, and what a flamboyant player he can be. But the Premier League is a beast of its own. Do you think Ten Hag utilizes him to the maximum potential in when he comes in, or do you think Ten Hag comes in and then sees actually Premier League is a different beast, and maybe Donny doesn't have the legs for Premier League? What do you think? I'll start with you, Sahbi.
Well, I know Ten Hag knows how to utilize him. So he knows him backwards, forwards. He knows him all the way. So this system that he wants to implement, it fits perfectly for Donny. If he would play, that's another question, because there could be a lot of quality players already within United that will be both, because he could play in the 8 position as a box to box, or in a 10 position. We all know Bruno Fernandes is having his ups and downs, but I'm very positive Ten Hag can really bring back the utmost quality with regards to Bruno. I'm very, very positive about that, because he's exactly the type of player that Ten Hag likes. So Donny will have to work hard. His work rate needs to be up, and it's always up. So he have to fight, and he will give him chances. It's not like with Ole or with Ralph that he didn't get any minutes at all, even though the fans, everybody was really screaming for it. He will give him those minutes, and it will be up to him to seize that moment. We'll have to see whether it works out. It depends, of course, on what kind of players United will bring, but the system itself, it will work out for him.
And yourself, EyeJax?
Yeah, to add to this, Faz, you say the Premier League is of a different standard, and will Ten Hag get the most out of Donny? Just go back to the Champions League campaigns of Ajax. Go back to 18-19. Check the Chelsea match the season after. Check the Tottenham Hotspur match. Who was one of the most pivotal players in our team? And he was younger back then, a little bit less physique. He trained hard. Donny was pivotal for us. He scored great goals. He was such a Iceman, in front of the goal. He actually feinted before he shot and scored a goal. I think it was against Spurs. He played well against Chelsea. He played well against so many big names, big teams within Europe. So if they are the standard of the Premier League and he can show that in a well-oiled Ajax machine, that Ten Hag will try to implement this style at Manchester United also, Donny will be one of his front runners to show the team how they need to play, because he knows it inside out, like Sahbi is telling you just now. He knows everything about the style. He knows everything about the philosophy of the manager. And what better to have a player at your team already that knows what is to be expected from the manager and how he wants to carry it out within the field. So, and next to Ronaldo, he can be pivotal for Ten Hag also, because he can tell the players what is needed at certain points. And I think he will be of great value to the team. And he's such a great personality, such a great player. The problems you have now with certain players in your squad that a lot of fans say, like, yeah, they're not doing their utmost. They're like down with their heads all the time. They're not tracking back when needed to defend and stuff. Donny will always give 150%. He will never not do his utmost within the field. So only this is already a big improvement considering what you have in the team at the moment. And with his qualities, I think he will be of great value.
So Ajax, just one question on that. How would Erick Ten Hag fit?
Okay, please.
How would he fit De Jong? Like if we was to manage to get De Jong, Donny van der Beek and Bruno Fernandes into the same system, like how could what would our defensive capabilities suffer for them all playing in the same team?
It's difficult, but it's doable. In our season, I can't remember who was the 10 at that point at Ajax. We had Schöne and Frankie who was in front of them.
It was Schöne, Frankie, and Donny.
Donny, of course. Sorry, Donny. I had a little blackout there. Donny was at the 10 at that moment. But if you compare those kind of players, none of them are actually pure defensive players. And because they are all so comfortable on the ball and have high ball possession and do not make a lot of faulty passes during a match, like 90-95% pass completion or very high. If you can keep the ball within your team, then defense is not necessary that much. You have to have some balance, but you have to have strong defenders behind your pivots. So if you are able as a team to implement that kind of style, I can see Donny and maybe Frankie in front of the defense as the two pivots. Maybe sometimes the defense a little bit more, sometimes the other one defense a little bit more. They can just switch it up. And maybe Bruno in front of that. Or if Bruno excels in the preseason and he can also drop down the line, this is also possible. But there's so much football quality within your midfield if you play those three players that just need to implement and play the style Ten Hag wants. But it is doable. And you will have players that can play the ball compared to what you have now.
That sounds exciting. Very exciting.
Well, look, that pretty much sums up all the questions I had. I think I know a lot more about Ten Hag now than I did before. I definitely do, to be honest. I'm looking forward to the discipline aspect that he brings. I'm looking forward to the cutthroat aspect that he brings. And I'm looking forward to him implementing the youth as well. Most importantly, I'm looking forward to the future and having a great amount of patience. Listen, thank you very much, Ajax. Thank you very much, Sahbi.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Firma, as well, for joining in with your questions. I really appreciate you guys joining and taking your time. Look, it's been amazing. If you guys have watched this, if you guys have found anything interesting that you've learned, whatever, drop it in the comments below. Make sure you go and check out Ajax's social media, which will be in the description down below. And also make sure you go and check out Sahbi's social media down below. They do a great channel dedicated to Ajax. It's called WeTalk Ajax. Make sure you go and check that out as well. Link is down below. Ajax is fighting for the title. What is it? 3-point difference? Is it 4-point difference?
4 points.
4 points difference. 4 games to go. PSV breathing down their neck. At the moment, they have the little upper hand because they did beat them in the domestic cup. But Ajax and Sahbi will think that the title is probably almost near. They probably have one hand on it, considering the fixtures that they have. And yeah, hoping Ten Hag can finish on a great high, win the title, come here and do great things. Listen, I've been
Yeah.
Faz. Thank you very much all for watching. And yeah, take care, everyone. Have a good evening. Peace.